For Chris. Chris, I've been on the board for almost 9 years. I don't recall us being asked to waive the Historic Commission review. Does that comport with your last 9 years?
I would agree with you.
Thank you.
Well, my question was along the same lines. Mr. Fromels, if the district went forward and received the historical resource impact study, normally that goes to the Historical Commission. They get to comment and bring their comments back to the board. I understand they're meeting on September 23rd, and here we are on September 11th. Is there some sense of urgency for which we would bypass that and then not have the benefit of their thought? I mean, why did the district not just wait, the period of time? You got 12 days to get it before the commission, and then we would have the benefit of their thought process, because otherwise you are getting a waiver from what the code requires.
Let me answer that in two parts if I can. The first is that the school district has already granted extensions for you to act on this application. We have submitted the historic resource impact study. I understand that the Historic Commission wants to chime in again, and I think that the recommendations that you get from the Historical Commission will actually be more meaningful. The fields are going to have to be where they are. They are shifted as far towards County Line Road as they can be shifted. We could not preserve the existing resource, but we certainly don't want to do that, and I'm sure you don't want to see that. I don't think anybody wants to see that. So we are preserving that. So how the Historical Commission may kick in, I believe, is to say how we can create an appropriate connection, if you will, between the fields in the location as shown on the plan. And we've tried to keep them as far away from the resources we can. We've tried to get them as close to the wetlands as we can. As you can see, they're close to the northern property line, close to the southern property line. So we believe that the recommendation that was made by the Historical Commission at their June meeting, that they would want to see it in the future, is a fair recommendation, and really will be what I call round one of the Historical Commission's recommendation. Round two will be as they participate in a discussion of how we might shift our parking, which we're agreeable to looking at, and how we might feather in and around that existing historic resource. So we don't really look at it as a waiver. In terms of how we impact the other trees, and to Mr. Grimes' point, to the extent that the rest of the property is considered a resource, we are proposing to demolish that portion of the resource, if it is a resource, in order to get those fields. We need to do that.
All right, but respectfully, Mr. Fromels, you haven't answered my question at all. Because
and you're not going to get another 5 minutes to explain the same thing.
And I'm going to be really short and brief and ask if you'd be the same. Because you are asking for waiver. We have a process. As you well know, after years of seeing me on the board, I'm a very process-oriented person. And the process is that the historical resource impact study goes to the commission so that we get the benefit of their thoughts, not your projection of their thoughts. That's not occurring. And the question that I asked was, what was the sense of urgency so that we could assess that as to why you wouldn't wait, go to them on the 23rd, and then come to us? The only part of your answer that addressed that was, oh, it was extended once before. Okay, it was. What would be the urgency that you shouldn't go through our process now? Giving you the opportunity to try to maybe get that waiver. Thus far, I haven't heard it.
Let me give you the second part of that. The school district is looking at 1860 and this property. This property is necessary to make 1860 work. So as the school district goes ahead, prepares and goes through the preliminary plan process, you've already granted tentative sketch approval for it, it needs to have the confidence that it has an integrated middle school here. that it has the school facilities and some fields that are on 1860, or some athletic opportunities. It's got a big field and tennis courts there. But it also absolutely needs these fields and needs to have the confidence that it needs to have the confidence now.
Okay, are you telling us that if for some reason we say, no, we don't like this plan, we're not doing it, you're pulling the plug on 1860? Is that what you're saying?
No.
I don't think so. So one last shot at it. One last shot at it. No. Why didn't you go to the commission? Why didn't you wait to go to the commission on the 23rd so we would have the benefit of their thought as opposed to doing it now? Your last opportunity, because if you don't answer this question, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't foresee this passing.
Okay, let me, we at number one, which we have a right to do, ask for a waiver of the historic resource impact study. It's pretty apparent that you would not grant that waiver now, okay? But the school district needs to know from a timing point of view that it has solved its field needs for 1860. If
So
for whatever reason
please
this
answer
gets
his question.
if I could just finish, please.
But
If they don't have a solution here at this property now, it would necessarily mean they better get looking at some other properties. So the sooner, they really need to get an answer and know where they stand with fields. And they would like to know as soon as possible whether this does the trick and satisfies all the field requirements, if for some reason it doesn't. And that's why they would like to move this ahead now.
all right, you and I have gone back and forth enough. Thank you very much.